That's better. All right. I'm going to do a small tutorial on how to go about updating your graphics drivers for an AMD product, such as a graphics card or a laptop with an AMD APU, such as the E2, A8, A6, A10, any of the above. I'm using the AMD A8 6320, I believe. It's the aftermarket one I got on the internet, of course. So, first off, you're going to want to find out exactly what graphics chipset you have. If you have a graphics card, you probably found that out already when you bought yours, such as an AMD graphics card. Those would be provided in the details of the card when you buy it or on the box. I can also do one on NVIDIA also. A lot of chips these days, CPUs, the A series, contain their own GPU. So it's a processor and a graphics processor in the same chip, which is convenient if you don't have, a lot of electricity you want to use, or you're broke like me. And so if you had like an A10 or an RX9 or one of those, if you had an RX9, you go over here and you tell them, what value do you have? It would be one of the desktop graphics cards. And you would choose blah, 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 R9, blah, blah, blah. But an easy way to detect what product you have exactly would be Device Manager. If you're using a more recent version of Windows, such as the Windows 10 beta, which is what I'm on, or Windows 8 or Windows 7, a lot of them are included in the drivers already. The WMD drivers would automatically detect it. So if you type in Device Manager over in your search bar, you'd find it, and you just click on it. And you can also find it by going to your this PC or whatever, something like that, and then you press Manage, and you get literally the same exact thing, which would be Device Manager. It'll pop up in a second. But anyways, damn it. Here you have, it would be underneath display adapters. And you'd have your AMD Radeon. This is what I'm using on my APU. Another good way to find that out is pretty much, if it runs on your computer, it's going to detect what CPU you have. So you would find that under processors. And that's a good way. You would go ahead and just Google what processor you have, and it should automatically tell you in the description what graphics card is included, with the APU, of course. I'm not, the Turians or the Athlon, stuff like that, they don't have built-in APUs, GPUs, whatever. So, for a laptop, such as this one, I go over here. I'm going to put this in the description, of course, the AMD websites. Pretty much all of AMD's website is drivers and support and whatnot. Of course, they have tons of other stuff. They also make an auto detect and install program, which is great if you don't want to do a lot of, figuring it out. But personally, I find that to be a bit, sometimes you get an outdated one, or they tell you have the latest version, or blah, blah, blah. It would detect your operating system and your graphics PCIe number, and it tell you what the best device is. But as you see, it doesn't tell me because it doesn't know, probably because of the operating system. So, for an APU, you go to, if you're using a desktop APU, such as the newer A10s, or server or workstation, and laptops or tablets these days. They actually make tablets with x86 processors with APUs. They actually have some pretty specific ones, but pretty much anyone with the A on it, you go for A series. Or if you had one of the stock ones, like the E2, you go to E series. I have personally found out that, like an E2 would actually be able to run stuff like Half-Life 2, not at the greatest speed, but capable of it. And you choose your operating system. and you get your results. They will usually list stuff like hydro, vision, and this, that, and the other. But they also list the catalyst, the whole mobility driver system, and beta drivers. Beta drivers are sometimes more performance worthy, but at the same time, unstable. So I would suggest you go with your normal stable ones, normal revisions, unless you want to use the betas. I'm not stopping you. I've never had any problems with them, but they do cause some glitches in certain programs. You save that and you just run it. And it'll give you this. It'll ask where you want to extract the files. And here you go. After that's all done, it'll automatically execute the program. And, it'd just be normal. Go ahead and use the Express install if I were you, because they include the Raptor program now, which I don't have installed. But the Raptor program is very convenient. It helps you stay up to date with your drivers. They even offer point systems, like, every couple of minutes you play a game, give you points, and you can enter sweepstakes. And if you play a lot of games, a lot of the time, you can literally just get free crap. It's crazy. But afterwards, at the same time, Steam does offer stuff like, check for video updates. And they'd probably just redirect you to AMD support site, which is literally the same thing. A wizard lizard. That's intriguing. They have come quite far with the APU series, especially with mobile. As I said, comes with the Raptor program. If you do not want the Raptor program, just go to custom. I would suggest using the same default program files, ATI, if you're using x86. I'm sorry, if you're using 32-bit, it'll normally, 64 or 32-bit, they'll go for the same one. Make sure you use the correct one. Also, as a side bit, in order to find out whether or not you're using 64-bit or 32-bit. Windows, this computer or this PC in the newer versions, you go to properties and you get your control panel, system security, systems information. And you'd have your normal stuff, and I tell you system type and 64-bit. Very convenient. Anyways, we'll give you the information of what they're going to install, and it'll just be all this. Also, another heads up, because this has bothered me a few times before and causes unnecessary panic with some people. If you're installing a game or another program or something, and it just tells you hey, you're installing a program, please close that, and then you do that and you're done installing this, it'll be there were errors. And you read the documentation that it comes up with, and you don't see anything, 90% of the time, that error is caused by you trying to install another program at the same time. It's really not a big deal. But that's about it. I would highly suggest installing your ATI drivers. WMD drivers do work. But, of course, ATI drivers work the best. For more information, check out ATI's website.